in our everyday life. So, next slide, please, Mark. Okay. So, we go out from here. We only spend a very small part of our week in these walls. So, worship out there is every bit as important as worship in here. Let's see if I can get this right now. What am I doing wrong, Mark? No, I had a little green light on the screen. Okay. Forward. Okay. So, I'm going to give you, again, I went online, and I found lots and lots of different ways to worship, but I felt this was a top 10 somebody had put, and I just felt this summed all the other things I read up online. It summed it up perfectly. So our first one is give your best in whatever you're doing. If we're doing our best is an act of worship, because Paul in Colossians actually says, whatever you do, work heartily, as for the Lord and not for men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the inheritance as your reward. You are serving the Lord Christ to work for the Lord, not human masters. So when we see our work as working for him, we need to do our best. Paul, please note, doesn't actually say you must be perfect and you must get everything right first time. And you must be amazing, like lots of things we see on social media that seem to make us feel that we come up short. Do your best. Try hard. Those that went to the Olympics and didn't come back with a medal will have felt a little deflated, but in their own way, they did their best. And that's what we need to do in our Christian lives, is to do our best. God knows when we're doing our best. He also knows when we're maybe taking the slightly easier option. No, that one. Oh, there we go. Take care of yourself. And I read the little clip that came with this, and it says, brushing our teeth, taking showers, exercising, and eating healthily does not come to mind as an act of worship. However, we, you and I, were given these bodies to live in. And if we don't look after them, that's a bit like if I give you a gift and you throw it in the corner and you don't take care of it or you let it get damaged, that's not showing respect, is it? So we're given these bodies, let's look after them. And I know for some people, especially I'm thinking the younger ones, brushing your teeth seems such a chore, doesn't it? But it's important. Same as looking after the other parts of your body, getting some exercise, getting sleep. So look after it. It's a way to honor God and to thank him for what he's given you. I always remember when I was much younger and I was able to do all the things I wanted to do before I broke my leg. And our family have all got quite short legs. And I was moaning one day, I must have seen somebody with, legs up to their armpits. And I said, I wish I had longer legs. And my daughter, who wasn't very old at the time, turned around and said, Mum, be grateful they work. And that stuck with me for a long time. Yes, I was given legs that work. And even now, okay, one doesn't work as well as it used to, but I can still walk, I can still use it, and I have to look after it as it is now the best I can. So, put him first in your mind. And it's easy to let thoughts run away with us. You may be talking to someone or see a post on social media, a bit like I was in the last bit. You start comparing yourself to them, money, relationships, foods, sport. I'm not as good as them. My grades aren't as high as theirs. I can't ride as fast as Andy. But I'm still doing my best. So it sort of goes back to that. And the Bible teaches us to take every thought captive and make it obedient to Jesus. If we pay attention to our thoughts, we can redirect them in worship to Jesus by saying his name. So it's being aware and oh, no, maybe I shouldn't let my mind go that way. Bring it back. A lot of these actually tie in with each other. Stay in the moment. You know what it's like, and I'm sure we've all done that here as well as at home. You're sitting here and we're worshipping and, oh, my thoughts have just gone off to what we're doing later. Have I taken the chicken out of the freezer? So worshipping in the middle of a day is about staying in the moment instead of trying to escape. So if you're worshipping, don't try and include other things in as well. Yes, we have to think about the everyday things, but as it says here, which I think would be a challenge to a lot of us, next time you have downtime, invite Jesus into the moment and talk to him instead of scrolling through your phone or turning on Netflix. I can't turn on Netflix, but I do scroll through the phone. And that's another one that I read and thought, yeah, I need to work on that one. Serve someone else. Jesus was the ultimate servant. And if we're worshipping, we want to be like that person. We want to be like God. We want to be like Jesus. So he served. We should be looking for ways to serve other people. And there are many ways we can do this. It pleases God when we look after each other, when we serve each other. I've yet again left my food bank contribution at home. But I know Jill works tirelessly with the food bank. There's the care and share that have brought people in. There are so many ways we can serve both the people in this community and the people in the wider community. I'll keep putting this down. Say it. Have you ever thought a nice thought about someone and kept it to yourself? Next time something like that crosses your mind, say it. The good helps keep the bad out. But in the same way, remember to tell people about Jesus. Talk about him. So say it. And this goes with the next one. Don't say it. I do try not to put don'ts, because as a teacher they always say, tell them what they've got to do, not what they've not got to do, because they're far more likely to respond to one than if you give a load of don'ts. But this one's important. It said here, water filter catches impurity in the water before we drink them. In the same way, we can filter out unkind and unproductive words before others hear them. We need to think about what we're saying. I was always taught, if you haven't got anything nice to say, don't say it. And I think that is really applies. And it's also about choosing which vocabulary we use, which language we use. Let's drive the negative thoughts and the negative words away. Give generously. And I think this, it actually puts on here, it was money I think they were talking about initially. But I don't think it's just money. It's about what we do with our money, yes, that does say a lot about our faith. So supporting people who have less, helping, buying things for somebody who maybe can't afford it, the food bank. There's lots of ways charities that we can donate to. But I think this also applies to giving generously of our time. You might not be able to afford to help somebody, but again, serving someone else, they tie in again. If you give your time, it's invaluable. Nearly there. Okay, what? Okay, I'm pressing the same one. Have I turned it off? Oh, okay. I get in a panic when it doesn't appear immediately. Do what you're made to do. Each one of you has been put on this earth for a purpose and a reason. God has a plan. You might not know exactly what that plan is at this point in time. But listen, do you have a next step that you've been thinking about taking and maybe you're not sure? Pray on it. And maybe go for it as an act of worship today. And lastly, be thankful. We have so much to be thankful for. Every day, every minute, even in the walk from here home or the drive home, there will be things that you can look out at this beautiful world that we have, this great town we live in, the friends we have in our community. Be thankful and let God know that you're thankful, because that is also an act of worship. God wants us to be grateful for the things. If you give something to somebody and they say thank you, how much better do you feel? Because what do we usually say as parents? What's the magic word? Right? How often must God be up there thinking, what's the magic word? Because we've not said thank you, or we've not shown that we are grateful and we are thankful for what we have been given. And take time to notice. I think a lot of us wander around without even thinking about the beauty out there that we have been given. Okay, so I think these 10. You add another? Of course you can.
Looking after our world.
Yes, looking after our world.
As well as ourselves.
Yeah, as well as ourselves. We were given this beautiful gift, and we seem intent on spoiling it, which is such a shame. There's so much beauty and so many wonderful things in our world. Well, thank you. Anybody else got anything they'd like to add to? Oh, great. I love it when we get...
I would say if you say you're going to do something, keep your word.
Yeah,
keep your word.
Yeah, way of worship, keep your word.
In whatever you do, give it to the Lord.
Yeah, so not only doing your best, actually, in the same way as I've said, don't just be grateful, say you're grateful. What you do, give it to the Lord. Anybody else got any? I do love it when I get feedback. Thank you. Okay, the next one, we're going to sing another song.